Hi Gandhi class, welcome to your second Talk for Writing lesson this week. And our learning objective for today's lesson is, can I recognise key information about stone, bronze and iron ages? So in this lesson, I'm going to give you a bit more information about the prehistoric period because this is going to help us a lot with our Talk for Writing topic. Now, I'm going to read a book to you called Stone Age to Iron Age by Izzy Howe. And as we go through on your mini whiteboard, I want you to note down anything that you find interesting. Okay, so the Stone, Bronze and Iron Ages. The first people arrived in Britain around 750,000 years ago. However, the people living in Britain didn't have a written language until the Romans arrived in 43 CE. The time before people in Britain started writing is called British prehistory. Now, it's worth noting at this point that because obviously this is prehistory, it's before people started writing, so it's quite difficult to pinpoint the exact start date of the Stone Age, the very first Stone Age. You know, some sources may say 750,000 BC, some may say 500,000 BC, some may say 900,000 BC. So if you see lots of different dates, just know that it's hard to pinpoint exactly when British prehistory started. So let's read on. British prehistory is then divided into 3 time periods. Each period is named after the material that was most commonly used to make tools at that time. Which prehistoric period do you think happened first? So we've got a stone axe from the Stone Age, that's one of our periods, 750,000 BCE to 2,500 BCE. We've got a bronze axe from the Bronze Age, 2,500 BCE to 800 BCE, and an iron sword from the Iron Age, 800 BCE to around 43 CE. So which one of these do you think happened first? Pause the video to have a think. Well done. It was the stone axe from the Stone Age. So prehistory lasted for over 750,000 years. Not many prehistoric objects have lasted until modern times, but archaeologists are always looking for clues that show us what prehistoric life was like. Prehistoric objects can teach us about the past. This gold Iron Age bracelet shows us the type of jewelry that rich people wore at that time. So there you go. There is a prehistoric bracelet from the Bronze Age. And a fact, the people who lived in Britain during the Iron Age are called the Celts. Groups of Celts also lived across Europe. The Celts spoke Celtic languages, which are similar to modern Welsh or Gaelic. Okay, food and farming. People in the Stone Age Britain were hunter-gatherers, which meant that they went out and hunted their food or they gathered their food. So by hunting, we mean they would run after animals and hunt the animals down. And by gathering, they would gather things like berries and other foods that you could grow or that grew naturally. They spent their lives moving from place to place, looking for food. They hunted wild animals and collected fruits and vegetables. Wild boar were often hunted by hunter-gatherers. Can you find out if wild boar are still alive in Britain today? I want you at the end of this session to see if you could find that out. And here's a quick fact for you. At the start of the Stone Age, people could hunt woolly rhinos in Britain, so like a rhino, but with fur. Archaeologists have found rhinoceros bones with knife marks, which shows that they were hunted and eaten by humans. And then towards the end of the Stone Age, European settlers showed people in Britain how to farm. This changed everyday life for people in Britain. They started to live on farms and had more time for other activities. On Bronze and Iron Age farms, people planted crops such as wheat and barley. They kept animals for milk and meat. So here you can see what we think a prehistoric farm may have looked like. Rulers and tribes. The population of Britain was very small in the Stone Age. People lived in family groups and were not controlled by a ruler. In Stone Age groups, everyone had a different job. Some people hunted and others prepared food or made tools. So here you can see a picture. Here's a hunter going out to hunt some food. Here are some people making tools. And here are some people who are preparing food over a fire. So everyone had their own role and no one was better than anyone else. So there wasn't a ruler to rule them. The population of Britain grew in the Bronze Age, and by the Iron Age, small family groups had joined together into tribes. Each tribe had its own ruler, and tribes would fight one another for land or resources. And here we have a statue of Boudica, one of the most famous Celtic rulers, and she controlled the Iceni tribe. But which part of Britain do you think they lived in? At the end, maybe you could go and have a search to see if you could find out. And here's a fact. Boudica wasn't the only female Celtic ruler. Although most rulers were men, several powerful women ruled tribes and fought battles as well. Houses. So the first Stone Age hunter-gatherers slept in caves as they moved around the country. They didn't have a set place where they lived. As people started to stay longer in each place to grow food, they began to build huts that would last for several months. Here's an example of that. It's likely that Stone Age huts had a wooden frame, and the frame would be covered with animal furs to keep the hut warm, as you can see here. In the Bronze and Iron Ages, groups of people lived together in small villages. Their houses had walls made from dry mud and sticks and a straw roof. Inside, there was one room where the family would sleep and cook. So here is an example of where they would live. These are called round houses. Most houses in the Bronze and Iron Ages were round, like the houses in this reconstruction. So this isn't actually one of the houses from that time. It was reconstructed using our knowledge of what they would have looked like. And this is a reconstruction of an Iron Age village. And in fact, the straw roof of a roundhouse could weigh up to 2 tons. That's as much as a hippopotamus would weigh. Can you think of another name for a straw roof? Okay, and here we have tools. So the first tools made were very simple. They were made by hitting stones together until one stone had a sharp edge. It took a long time to cut plants or meat with stone tools. Around 2500 BCE, people in Britain learned how to make tools from bronze, and bronze tools, such as this axe and knife here, shown in the picture, were much stronger and sharper than stone tools. And here's a fact for you. A group of people from Europe called the Beakers probably taught people in Britain how to make bronze. So, bronze tools made farming much easier. Farmers could grow more food than their villages needed. People started to travel to other parts of Britain to trade food and bronze tools. So people learned how to make tools from iron in around 800 BC, and these tools were used to harvest crops. And here you can see some of those tools that would be used to harvest crops. So that's it's called a sickle, and it's a curved tool, and it would be used to hack down plants, like tall plants. Weapons and wars. Stone Age weapons were used mainly for hunting, as fights between people were unusual. As the population of Britain got bigger in the Bronze Age, people started to fight each other more often. So Stone Age weapons such as arrowheads were often made out of a stone called flint. In the Bronze Age, weapons and shields were made from bronze. The decorations on this bronze shield shows that it belonged to somebody important. So if you have a look, you can see that there is a circular decoration upon this bronze shield. Many Iron Age tribes built high hill forts to protect their villages from attacks from other tribes or invaders from different countries. The whole village would live on top of the high ground, and walls would then be built around them to keep them safe, as you can see in this picture here below. In Iron Age times, there was a hill fort on top of this hill, and the edges of the hill would have been dug away into the hill to make it harder for people to attack them. And here's a fact for you. There are remains of over 3,000 Iron Age hill forts in Britain. I wonder if you could go and find out the names of 2 of them. Okay, arts and crafts. Stone Age people decorated stones and animal bones with pictures. Like artists today, they drew things that they could see around them, such as animals or people. So if you have a look here, we can see in this in the circle is a horse's head. So the picture of a horse's head drawn on a bone is one of the oldest pieces of the Stone Age art found in Britain, and it's probably around 12,500 years old. The oldest art found on Earth is a zigzag line carved into a shell, and it's over 400,000 years old. In the Bronze and Iron Ages, craftsmen used metal to make beautiful objects as well as useful tools. Powerful rulers of tribes started carrying expensive decorated jewelry and armor to show just how rich they were. So here we can see a Bronze Age cape made from gold, and it's known as the mold cape. It was probably worn by a ruler of a Bronze Age tribe on special occasions. And this is a decorated Iron Age shield. It's actually made from bronze, and the designs on the shield look a little bit like birds. I wonder if you can make out the picture of the birds on them. Okay, clothes. So Stone Age people wore animal skins to keep themselves warm. The skins were sewn together to make clothes using bone needles and thread made from stringy bits of animal meat. And here you can see a animal skin top. The model shows what Stone Age clothes probably looked like, and this man is dressed for hunting and is carrying a long spear. By the Bronze Age, people knew how to weave wool into cloth. This cloth was made into clothes such as tunics and trousers. Shoes and cloaks were made from leather. In the Bronze and Iron Ages, most people wore woven tunics with skirts for women and trousers for men. So a tunic is a very, very, very long top that sort of comes down to mid-thigh, near to your knee. Some Iron Age warriors wore very few clothes, and they used dye from a plant to paint their bodies blue. So that's a fun fact for you there. Religion. Large stone circles were built across Britain during the Stone Age, and some of them are still standing today. Most historians think that these circles were used for religious ceremonies. Some stones were brought to Stonehenge from nearly 400 kilometers away in West Wales. No one knows how heavy how the heavy stones were carried such a long way. And here is a picture of Stonehenge with the really heavy stones. Here's a fact for you. The largest stones at Stonehenge weigh 50 tons. That's as much as the weight of 10 adult elephants combined. In the Iron Age, people thought that gods and goddesses lived in nature. People worshipped and celebrated the different gods and would make sacrifices to them. Religious men at the time were called druids. And this is a drawing of an Iron Age druid. And it's just this person here that you can see. Druids would use sickles, so that was the tool to cut down plants, to gather special plants to help with medicines. Okay, your task. So hopefully you would have made some notes during this time. If not, you can go and rewatch the video again. But using this information from what we've just read, I want you to write down in your own words a minimum of 3 new pieces of information that you have found out. You can write more if you would like to write more. Maybe pick the 3 most interesting pieces of information that you have learned. Please make sure you upload your work to Tapestry, and I will see you next time, Gandhi class. Bye.